live from historic Leimert Park in Los Angeles, California. I'm Tavis Smiley, and I'm so glad to see you and me back in stride again. Before we get started with today's show, let me invite you to follow me on Facebook and Instagram at The Real Tavis Smiley and get updates on X, that's formerly Twitter, at Tavis Smiley. By the way, should you miss any part of today's program or want to catch up on previous shows, you can always visit thetavismiley.show.com. That's thetavismiley.show.com, or wherever you get your podcast, and listen to the Tavis Smiley podcast version of this live program at your leisure. Another great show on tap for you today. In our second hour, up first, a conversation with esteemed legal scholar and Professor Michelle Adams about her new book, The Containment: Detroit, the Supreme Court, and the Battle for Racial Justice in the North. In some ways, this book, which is pretty dense, this book fundamentally challenges how we understand the history of civil rights and how the Supreme Court essentially undermined the promise of Brown v. Board. Should be a great conversation in hour two, talking about the fight then and now to ensure equality of opportunity for black children. In our third hour,
soft and warm, a quiet storm, quiet as when flowers talk at break of dawn, break of dawn. A power source of tender force, generating, radiating, turn me on, turn me on. You short circuit all my nerves, promising electric things. You touch me and suddenly there's rainbow rings. Quiet storm.
it's a career conversation with William Smokey Robinson as we celebrate the 50th anniversary of his 1975 seminal album, A Quiet Storm. Smokey joins us live in studio today in our final hour. He has a new Las Vegas residency commencing in April. We'll tell you all about that. So a lot to unpack with William Smokey Robinson as he joins us live in studio today in our final hour as we celebrate the 50th anniversary of that seminal album, A Quiet Storm, which was a game changer. I'll wait till the third hour to tell you about it. But it wasn't just a great album for Smokey, one of the best in the history of Motown. It literally changed the game on radio. The Quiet Storm format that you hear all the time on stations, that's Smokey. That album opened the door to the Quiet Storm format. So the song wasn't just a great song, not just an amazing album, but iconic in how it changed the game in radio. Again, going to be a great conversation with Smokes when he joins us today in hour three. But we commence today's show talking politics with investigative journalist and Rutgers professor David A. Love. David, good to have you on the program, sir. Happy New Year. How are you?
I am doing very well. Happy New Year, Brother Tavis. It is an honor to be with you once again.
It's an honor to have you on this program once again. I'm glad we have an hour. There's a whole lot to talk about in this hour. Before I get to our conversation, let me just offer, as we do every day, these days, an update on where we are here in Southern California. I, again, appreciate all of you listening across the country to this syndicated program and all of your well wishes and cards and emails and phone calls and queries about how we're doing. We're still holding on and staying strong as best as we can. Southern California is braced for extremely critical fire conditions today. Caused by a new period of Santa Ana winds today through tomorrow all across Los Angeles and Ventura counties as the battle to contain these raging blazes goes on. So the Santa Anas died down over the weekend. They're back now with a vengeance today and tomorrow. And so we are just hopeful that these Santa Anas will not continue as they have to blow these embers to and fro, which spreads these wildfires. 24 people at this point known dead. 40,000 acres in the greater Los Angeles area burned, entire communities destroyed, almost 15,000 structures. The largest blaze, the Palisades fire, has burned more than 23,000 acres alone. It was only 14% contained when I went on the air. Still threatening Brentwood, Encino, and Westwood, where UCLA is. But only 14% contained. I know it's hard to imagine. People keep calling and asking us as if we are meteorologists ourselves, asking us how is it that these fires cannot be contained a week later. Today's Tuesday. This all started a week ago. So here we are a week later, and these fires are still raging. It is in large part because of those Santa Ana winds that have blown anywhere from 40 to 100 miles per hour. Imagine trying to spray water on a fire, and the water's going this way and that way. The embers are going this way and that way. And you can't do airdrops because the winds are too high, and so that's why we are a week later. And these fires are at best are contained, this one, the Palisades fire, at only 14%. Evacuation orders in effect for 92,000 residents of L.A., 89,000 are in evacuation warning zones, which means they're on standby to leave at a moment's notice. That's a whole lot of people. And finally, L.A. County, as you might imagine, has now declared a public health emergency, warning that smoke and particulate matter could impose immediate and long-term threats. Indeed, my allergies have kicked up the last few days, and so we all are, not all of us, but many of us are wearing masks when we walk outside, for certain, if we have to go outside, because the particulate matter is flying everywhere. You walk outside here in Southern California these days, and your car looks like you are on the East Coast in a snowstorm. There's ash all over your vehicle, even if you're not close to the fires. That's how bad these fires are, how strong the winds have blown, that even if you're not close. We're in Leimert Park. Leimert Park, frankly, is nowhere near where these fires are. We're a good distance away at my studio, and yet when you walk outside to get in your car, there are ashes all over your vehicle. So that's what it looks like here in Southern California in these apocalyptic times. So there's your update on where we are today for those across the country who are curious, and that means many of you, about how we're doing in Southern California. We appreciate your prayers and well wishes. When we come forward, we'll commence our conversation with David A. Love as we celebrate in our third hour today, all 3 hours. We're going to give you some of the best of Smokey. Smokey's in studio today in hour 3. You're listening, and I'm glad about it, to Tavis Smiley.
Interrogating and unpacking. That's what we do around here. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
This statement has not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
I was always tired, with weekly bouts of indigestion. A friend asked me, when was the last time you did a detox? Never, I said. So she recommended Active Liver.
Our liver works hard every day to remove toxins from processed foods and unclean air and water. But too many toxins can overwhelm the liver, causing it to actually store toxins in our body fat. Low energy, brain fog, headaches, bloating, and skin irritation are all telltale signs that we need to act. Water or juice fasts can help, but often require days or weeks of feeling tired and sick. Thankfully, there's an easier way. Active Liver from New Nordic is a natural supplement that helps your liver effectively eliminate toxins on a daily basis, leaving you feeling better with more energy and less bloating.
Within a week of taking Active Liver, I was feeling better, and now I have more energy than I've had in years.
Available in both tablet or delicious gummies, you can find Active Liver online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com or in stores at your local CVS or Meijer grocery.
Make a move into a home of your own. With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you could receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
The Ignited Light program invites one and all to the 8th annual Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day of Service, January 18th, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Baldwin Hills Crenshaw Plaza. The spirit of Dr. King's legacy of service continues as local organizations come together. A drive-through food giveaway, free medical services, the Department of Children's Services offering employment opportunities, foster and emancipated females aged 18 to 26, can take part in a very special She Ready luggage giveaway on Saturday, January 18th, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., Baldwin Hills, Crenshaw Plaza. More info, visit adayon.org. Again, adayon.org. Drivers, please enter from the Marlton Ave entrance.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together. Let's get back to more of this rich dialogue with Tavis Smiley.
Just to see her, just to touch her, just to hold her in my arms again, one more time. If I could feel her warm embrace, see her smiling face, can't find anyone to take her place. I've got to see her again. I would do anything. I would go anywhere. There's nothing I wouldn't do just to see her again.
What a career William Smokey Robinson has had and continues to have. He's just announced a Las Vegas residency, so everybody's going to be hustling to Vegas to see Smokes. But you will hear him live today in our third hour when he comes in the studio to talk about this amazing career. 50 years now since that seminal album, A Quiet Storm. Going to be a great conversation with Smokey. In hour 3, we're going to play Smokey all 3 hours today. And what better time to play some Smokey, given all that we're dealing with here in Southern California. If Smokey can't make you feel better, nobody can. Let's get this party started. David A. Love is an investigative journalist and Rutgers professor, and I'm delighted to have him back on this program. Overnight, a whole lot of stuff happened, not just here in Southern California, but the winds were blowing on the East Coast as well. Not one, but two special counsel reports were released in the last 24 hours, David Love. Let me start with the big one. The special counsel report that says and finds that Donald Trump, they believe, would have been convicted in this election case. Let me read briefly here from the New York Times reporting on this story that we talked about on our program yesterday. We weren't sure yesterday if this report was actually going to get out. Judge Eileen Cannon in this case had agreed to allow a part of this report to come out, but not another part. We figured that Donald Trump's attorneys would appeal this. As we said yesterday with our guest Robert Kuttner of the American Prospect magazine, not sure that it makes a difference, but it is on the record. I quote now from the New York Times, just a couple paragraphs here. Jack Smith, the special counsel who indicted President-elect Donald J. Trump on charges of illegally seeking to cling to power after losing the 2020 election, said in a final report released early Tuesday, that is today, that the evidence would have been sufficient to convict Mr. Trump in a trial had his 2024 election victory not made it impossible for the prosecution to continue. The department's view that the Constitution prohibits the continued indictment and prosecution of a president is categorical and does not turn on the gravity of the crimes charged, the strength of the government's proof, or the merits of the prosecution, which the office stands fully behind, Mr. Smith wrote. He continued, indeed, but for Mr. Trump's election and imminent return to the presidency, the office assessed that the admissible evidence was sufficient to obtain and sustain a conviction at trial, close quote. We will never know, Professor Love, but that's what Jack Smith believed, that they were going to convict Donald Trump in this case.
Yes, sir. And Brother Tavis, I should begin by saying that I can't think of a better place to start off the new year from a media standpoint than to be on this program with you. No, this whole thing is a big disappointment, but at the same time, I'm not necessarily surprised. I mean, I think this report is telling us what we all know, which is, Trump is a criminal. He should have been convicted. It doesn't help us, I suppose, to know this. But I think the larger issue is that we really see now in full view how corrupt and how unserious this country is to allow somebody like this, most powerful person in the country, in the world, to let him just go free. Now, this country, I think, will do certain things when they have the will to do it. And the fact that, with all of this evidence that we saw right before our very eyes in the media, we saw the crimes being committed, we saw all the corruption, and yet somehow this system does not have the will to actually bring this man to justice because, I suppose, ultimately because he's a wealthy white man.
You said a couple things I want to give you a chance to unpack right quick. Let me start with this. It's a beautiful phrase. I hadn't heard it quite put this way, but it jumped out at me, as I suspect it did our listeners when it came out of your mouth. It's a beautiful phrase that America is an unserious country. We are an unserious country. That cuts a lot of ways. But unpack that a bit more for me. We clearly, this is evidence to your point that we are an unserious country. But let me go a little deeper. Ask you to go a little deeper on that notion that America in this present moment is really an unserious country.
Yes, unserious country because this country claims to care so much about rule of law, democracy, fighting against crime, and making sure that we have honesty in government. And yet, you will find many black people, black young people in prison. Some of them are fighting these fires right now in LA.
That's right.
And yet we have a person who is going to be, once again, the most powerful person in the country, who has all kind of cases against him, all kind of indictments and convictions. And yet his criminality, his wrongdoing has been normalized. So we were told, all of these years, we were told coming up that we have to live an honest life and we have to do things a certain way. And yet we see someone leading by example, the most powerful person in the world leading by example, and that's a very bad example. So it's really telling me that the establishment, the powers that be, really didn't care about this issue of, leading a good life and leading in a positive way. Because the fact of the matter is that people in power will commit whatever crimes they want to and get away with it. They will punish the marginalized. They will punish the poor. Certainly the black and brown folks. But when it comes to wealthy people, they get a pass. And this is just another example of it.
Let me just ask you point blank whether or not you think it matters. You are a professor of journalism at Rutgers, and so you, I would assume, teach all the time these young students about how to perfect their craft. And as you well know, there are a number of ways to have conversations. We have conversations on the record, and we have conversations, as we say, on background. On background means you're basically off the record, but you're providing information anyway. You don't want to attribute it to you, et cetera, et cetera. So you can go on the record or you can go on background. Here's my question: whether or not you think it matters that this is on the record, that this report has come out, and although it doesn't mean anything in terms of stopping Donald Trump from becoming the next president. We're past that. He will be inaugurated in a few days from now on the King holidays. We discussed with Claiborne Carson yesterday. Wrap your brain around that. He's being inaugurated on King's holiday. I digress for now. But does it matter to you that this is at least on the record? Does it matter that he's entering the White House as a felon? He didn't serve any time, but that is on the record. Does it matter, you think, now or into the future for future historians, that this stuff is at least on the record?
I believe it's very important that it's on the record for us currently, for the next generation, for future generations, to know exactly what went down. Mm-hmm. But I think that it is important, particularly because then what we have to do is take a step back and begin to look at why we got to this point in the first place. So now we'll have to look at the role of people such as Merrick Garland, U.S. Attorney General, who waited a year and a half to take action. We have to look at media, the very broad term media, but I'm thinking specifically about white-owned media, establishment media, who normalized Trump and his actions when he was in the White House, and then normalized him when he was, when he got out of the White House, and the role they played in failing to actually educate, inform the public on all of these issues surrounding his impropriety. So, yeah, I think that ultimately it is very important that we know this is happening, because it is going to give us an opportunity to actually examine why we got to this in the first place, because ultimately this is a crisis situation in the media and in democracy, and we better learn some lessons from this. Otherwise, we're going to see the same thing play out again, or even, see worse things play out in the future.
I said at the top of this show that there were two special counsel reports that came out overnight since we were on the air yesterday. So we've talked a bit about the first, and that is, again, the report from Jack Smith, the special counsel. His belief is that but for Mr. Trump's election and his imminent return to the presidency, they would have been able to, based on admissible evidence, obtain and sustain a conviction at trial. That is their belief. We will never know. The other special counsel report is the one from David C. Weiss, and this is the special counsel who was looking at the Hunter Biden case. We all know Hunter Biden, pardoned by his father, the president. But let me read again from the New York Times what Mr. Weiss had to say. The special counsel who spent years investigating Hunter Biden criticized President Biden for making, quote, baseless accusations, close quote, about Mr. Weiss's inquiry that threatened, I quote again, the integrity of the justice system as a whole, close quote. That's what he had to say in his report that was released yesterday. I quote again from Mr. Weiss, the special counsel of the Hunter Biden case. The president's characterizations are incorrect based on the facts in this case, and on a more fundamental level, they are wrong, close quote. That's some strong language against the sitting president, Mr. Weiss. By Professor Love, by Mr. Weiss.
Yeah, that is strong. That is strong. And I'll say that, it cuts both ways. I think that a president in power should not be immune, as far as his family members, loved ones being prosecuted. I think that, very often when people of influence are in power, they think that they can protect themselves and their family members.
Yeah.
And I think that it is important that they realize that, the justice system does apply to them as well. Yeah. So I think that's that's a good thing. And of course, yeah.
No, I'm just watching my time. I got 45 seconds. Let me ask you right quick, and we can continue, of course, when we come forward. Got you for the hour. Let me ask you right quick, though, whether or not you believe that Joe Biden may in the future regret politically. As a matter of fact, hold on. I'll take your answer on the other side. Let me get the question out now. But I want to ask Professor Love, and for those of you listening to ponder yourself, is whether or not we believe that somewhere down the road, Joe Biden will politically regret having pardoned his son. Now, as a father, I get it. No regrets at all. But politically, where his legacy is concerned, with all that has come out as a result of this pardon, I wonder whether politically, whether he ever says it publicly or not, in his mind, in his heart, whether he will ever regret politically having pardoned his son, given all the damage that it may do to his legacy. We'll talk about that part with David A. Love when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
For all the freedom-loving folk, this is Tavis Smiley.
I feel like freedom.
Progressive presents Renter's MVP's Most Valuable Possessions. Today's MVP, Tom Kelly's carbon fiber mountain bike. Because more than riding his carbon fiber mountain bike, Tom loves telling people about his carbon fiber mountain bike. Friends, family, even a local barista knows about his carbon fiber mountain bike. And that's why Tom's carbon fiber mountain bike, if you haven't heard about it, is today's MVP. Keep your most valuable possessions protected by bundling your renters and auto insurance with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
Are you 50 or older? This news is for you. The CDC now recommends you get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at risk. People 50 or older are over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia compared to adults 18 to 49. Just one shot can help protect you. Learn more and schedule at vaxassist.com. That's VAXassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. The Senate begins confirmation hearings today for President-elect Trump's cabinet picks. Pete Hegseth is up for Defense Secretary, while Doug Burgum's hearing for the Department of Interior is delayed due to missing paperwork. Illinois lawmakers plan to introduce a bill to decriminalize consensual sex work, remove related criminal records, and establish a sex workers' bill of rights. If passed, Illinois would be the first state to fully decriminalize sex work. The Rams advanced to the NFC divisional round with a 27-9 win over the Minnesota Vikings. They will face the Philadelphia Eagles for a spot in the NFC Championship game. And the Vanderbilt Transplant Center is a world record holder following a life-saving year. The Nashville facility made history by performing 174 adult and pediatric heart transplants in 2024. I'm Bree Wood on the Black Information Network, your home for Black News First.
Count on Lowe's to lend a hand to prepare, recover, and rebuild during the wildfires. Lowe's is part of your neighborhood and want to make sure you have the supplies you need when you need them. Visit Lowe's in store or online to get emergency supplies now and learn about relief efforts in your area.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Very impressive performance by the Rams Monday night in the NFL playoffs. They dominated Minnesota with a 27-9 win in Glendale, Arizona. The Rams defense was lit. A playoff record 9 sacks, an interception, and a strip sack fumble that turned into a 57-yard touchdown for rookie defensive end Jared Verse. The Rams play at Philadelphia Sunday at noon. The Lakers, playing their first game in 6 days, lost at home to San Antonio 126-102. Before the game, the Lakers made an $8 million pledge to relief efforts in the battle against the wildfires in L.A. County. The Clippers beat Miami 109-98. Fans entering the Intuit Dome in Inglewood were given towels with the words L.A. Strong. Keep your radar up on this situation. Colorado football coach Deion Sanders confirmed that he had a conversation Monday with Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones. Jones is looking for a new coach. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio that's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Let Express Employment Professionals help you hire for contract or full-time jobs. Forget about recruiting, sifting through resumes, and interviews with unqualified applicants. Go to expresspros.com to find the location near you. That's expresspros.com.
What make you?
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you, when we fight, we win. The Youth Justice Coalition is challenging America's addiction to incarceration and discrimination. YJC works to dismantle policies leading to mass incarceration, law enforcement violence, and the school-to-prison pipeline. Their approach? Transformative justice, community intervention, free LA high school, legal defense, and system monitoring. YJC promotes safety without relying on prisons. Their goal? Prevent system contact and help people exit the system through direct action, advocacy, and education. Want to get involved or need help? Call 323-235-4243. That's 323-235-4243. Join YJC in creating change. When we fight, we win. KBLA Talk 1580, your voice for justice. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Paid for by government.com. Did you know the United States Mint has issued a new Morgan silver dollar coin in proof condition for the first time? Not only that, they are also minted in 99.9% pure silver for the first time ever in history. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone that knows the enduring popularity of Morgans. But you must hurry. Only 400,000 of these legal tender silver dollars were issued. These first ever Morgan silver dollars are brand new with stunning mirror-like finish, minted by the iconic San Francisco Mint. Call now and you're guaranteed a new first ever 99.9% pure silver proof Morgan dollar. To learn more, call 1-800-973-9717. If you order now, you will receive a free coin collector bonus pack, a $25 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-973-9717 now to secure your new Morgan silver dollars before they are gone. That's 1-800-973-9717.
Sometimes he fails at fitting in, but we're okay with that. You're inside the Tavis Smiley Show.
Smokey Robinson joins us today live in studio in our third hour to celebrate this amazing career that he's crafted. The 50th anniversary of his seminal album, A Quiet Storm. We'll talk about his Las Vegas residency kicking off in April. Smokey Robinson joins us today in our third hour. We continue our dialogue now with investigative journalist and Rutgers professor David A. Love, talking politics. Tim Kaine, senator from Virginia, just grilled Pete Hegseth, the nominee for secretary at the Defense Department. In a moment, I'm going to give you some sound. You'll want to hear this. I can assure you, if it already hasn't, it will be viral in a matter of moments, and everybody's going to be playing this clip of Tim Kaine going in on Pete Hegseth, Donald Trump's nominee to lead the Defense Department. Stand by for that in just a second. I'll give you some sound. First, though, the question I asked a moment ago, David A. Love, and that is whether or not you think somewhere down the road Joe Biden may regret politically pardoning his son, given all the hell that he's enduring as a result of that particular decision.
Politically, I think one day he will regret that decision. Certainly, we can understand people wanting to do whatever they can for their children, but there's a perception issue going on there. And, ultimately, we all have decisions to make. We all have priorities. And, it gives the perception that, you can just, you're in this position of power and you can just help out your family, which really doesn't sound that much different from Trump. I would have to ask, if he's, spending all this energy helping his son, did he do what he could to pardon political prisoners and all of the people, the thousands upon thousands of people, disproportionately black folks who are in prison over dumb stuff or over nothing at all? We have to look at other policies. Did he go the extra mile to do whatever he could about homelessness, which is now on the rise? Did he do whatever he could to make sure that, people who are saddled with student loan debt, to make sure that they, are liberated from that? It's just questions that I think we have to ask. And ultimately, Biden, like other people in that position, have their priorities. And it just gives the perception that, he cares about his son, but that's about it.
Yeah,
and how does that help us?
Yeah, I asked the question. Let me answer my own question, which I do not normally do as a practice. My sense is that it's going to be very difficult for Joe Biden to separate the personal from the political. And if, in fact, you are going to take it on the chin for anything, it ought to be for standing with your son. So I'm answering my own question. Is he going to regret it politically? Probably not. I think Professor Love and I may disagree on that. In part, again, because I don't think he can separate in his mind, in his head, in his heart, the personal from the political. He did what he had to do for his son. Let the chips fall where they may. No regrets. That's my assessment. But none of us knows what Joe Biden is going to feel in the months and years to come. What we do know is that Pete Hegseth is on the hot seat in the U.S. Senate right now. Literally, there are a number of hearings underway on the Hill for Donald Trump's nominees. I don't need to color this any more than he did. Just take a listen to the senator from Virginia, the Commonwealth of Virginia, Tim Kaine, going in on Pete Hegseth.
Much has been made of your workplace behavior as a leader of nonprofit veterans organizations and as a Fox News contributor. Were you fired from either of the leadership positions with the nonprofits?
I was the leader. I was the CEO of Concerned Veterans for America and the
those
executive
two,
director
were
of
you
Vets
fired,
for Freedom.
Were you fired from either
and I was
of them?
never fired from a veterans organization.
Do you have non-disclosure agreements with either of those organizations?
Not that I'm aware of, Senator.
Many of your work colleagues have said that you show up for work under the influence of alcohol or drunk. I know you've denied that, but you would agree with me, right, that if that was the case, that would be disqualifying for somebody to be Secretary of Defense.
Senator, those are all anonymous false claims, and the totality
they're not anonymous.
The letters
We've
on the
seen,
record here.
They're not anonymous.
On the record, people
we've
who've
seen
worked
records with names
Vets
attached
for Freedom,
to them.
Concerned Vets for America, and Fox News
One of your colleagues
working
said,
hard every day on behalf of
one of your
mission.
colleagues said that you got drunk at an event at a bar and chanted, "Kill all Muslims." Another colleague, not anonymous, we have this, said that you took co-workers to a strip club. You were drunk, you tried to dance with strippers, you had to be held off the stage, and one of your employees in that event filed a sexual harassment charge as a result of it. Now, I know you denied these things, but isn't that the kind of behavior that, if true, would be disqualifying for somebody to be Secretary of Defense?
Senator, anonymous false charges.
They're not anonymous. And I'll just conclude and say this to the chairman. You claim that this was all anonymous. We have seen records with names attached to all of these, including the name of your own mother. So don't make this into some anonymous press thing. We have seen multiple names of colleagues consistently throughout your career that have talked about your abusive actions,
Chairman,
attitudes,
I think he's
words,
over
and
his time.
statements
He's
to
way
women.
over his time.
I now yield.
Ouch! Ouch! Including your mama. Lord Jesus. That's Tim Kaine out of Virginia giving Pete Hegseth the business in the Senate hearing today for his confirmation as Defense Secretary a few weeks ago. I think most of us believe that Pete Hegseth was not going to get through as Defense Secretary. I don't know if he'll get through. I know that the Democrats ain't having it. They're still licking their wounds from the shellacking that Kamala Harris took, and I said weeks ago that these nominees are in trouble when the Democrats get their turn, given how they feel in this particular moment. But Tim Kaine is raising legitimate questions about whether or not, and I love, I love the phraseology, right? You know he's not going to answer the question the way you want him to answer. So you say, but if this were true, if this were true, would this not be disqualifying for someone to serve as Defense Secretary if this were true? I digress for now. This is funny, but not funny because it's really serious. More with David A. Love when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
From Lamert Park with love, this is Tavis Smiley.
Robinhood Gold members can now enjoy the VIP treatment, receiving a 3% IRA match on annual retirement contributions. With Robinhood Gold, the perks of the high net worth are now available for any net worth. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. To receive a 3% boost on annual IRA contributions, sign up at Robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold $5 a month for 1 year from first match. Must keep funds in IRA for 5 years. Go to Robinhood.com/boost. Robinhood Financial LLC member SIPC. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC.
Welcome to Staples.
I am so pumped. My business is going to kill it this year.
Awesome. How can I help?
First, a new computer.
With Staples Home and Office Hot Deals, you save big on tech.
And new posters.
Save on custom printing, too.
And,
a new chair?
A chair? Who has time to sit?
Maybe all your new clients?
Now you're talking.
With Staples Home and Office Hot Deals, you'll find huge savings on custom prints, storage, chairs, and tech. And now save up to $175 off your print order. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details. Ends 2/1.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Freedom is an endless meeting, so let's get back to it with Tavis Smiley.
I always brag about how smart my audience is. I love comments like these. If Churchill could run World War II drunk before 9 a.m., why can't Hegseth run World War III drunk, especially if he's the one who starts it? Just think about that for a second. Yeah, I got a really, really bright audience. That's funny to me, but I take the point. I take the point. Let me just say right quick, I want to correct myself. I used a word I probably shouldn't have used a moment ago. Kamala Harris did not take a shellacking. When that word came out of my mouth, I wish I could have pulled it back that fast. That's the thing about doing live radio. We've established on this program any number of times that if 150,000 votes had swung another direction, Kamala Harris would be president-elect and not Donald Trump. So that's not really a shellacking. Reported that way. But if 150,000 votes had switched the other way, away in just 3 swing states. As reported in the Nation magazine and elsewhere. I recall talking to John Nichols about this. Just 150,000 votes swung in a different direction could have made Kamala Harris president in 3 of these 6 or 7 swing states that we talked about ad nauseum, ad infinitum during this campaign. So that's not really a shellacking. So I want to retract my own word. And there you have it. So I played just a taste, David A. Love, of Tim Kaine, Senator from Virginia, going in on Pete Hegseth. As I said a moment ago, a few weeks ago, it didn't look like he was going to make it through. Matt Gaetz imploded, and it looked like Pete Hegseth would implode, and yet Donald Trump has stood by him. They are rallying Republicans to his defense. I'm not sure Donald Trump wants to necessarily draw a line in the sand with Pete Hegseth, but if he could get him through, it would be a statement. Conversely, if he goes down or goes up in flames, it would be a statement. How do you read it?
I agree. I think ultimately this is a rallying cry, a rallying point for the white nationalists that make up Trump's party, the Republican Party. I personally would not, go any particular lengths to try to save him, but just keeping in mind the types of people we're dealing with Trump and his minions, this is their man, and I think he represents everything that they love. Yeah. And he's a white nationalist, complete with Nazi tattoos on his chest. His mama don't like him. That tells you something right there. Yeah. But ultimately, I think that the larger issue here is that while he might be the one of the more extreme examples, a lot of these cabinet picks are just rotten. Yeah. And we have to ask ourselves, do we want people like this running our government? And the fact that it's getting to the point where, yeah, it's plausible that somebody like Hegseth could actually run the Pentagon. What does that say about this country?
Yeah. It says that we are, as someone once told me, an unserious nation. Somebody told me that we are an unserious nation. That's what it says. When we come forward in our remaining moments with David A. Love, the author of that quote, that we are an unserious country, in case you missed that earlier in this dialogue. I want to raise this only because I think there's a conversation here to be had about, since I'm talking to a journalism professor at Rutgers, the state of cable news. Rashida Jones is a sister, and she is the sister who for some time now has run MSNBC. She has stepped down immediately, and Rebecca Cutler, Senior Vice President for Content Strategy at MSNBC, will succeed her as interim president. But the sister who has run MSNBC has stepped down immediately, so she's gone, but Rachel Maddow is back. So Rashida has left the building. Rachel's coming back into the building weeknights to helm her show once again for the first 100 days at least. MSNBC is in some trouble. Cable news is in some trouble. We'll talk about that part for a few minutes before we wrap this hour with David A. Love on Tavis Smiley.
Helping to stretch your moral and political imagination. This is Tavis Smiley.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like to check your sunroof is closed first before driving through the car wash.
Whoa, 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 no, wait, whoa.
Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary. Terms apply. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Are you 50 or older? This news is for you. The CDC now recommends you get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at risk. People 50 or older are over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia compared to adults 18 to 49. Just one shot can help protect you. Learn more and schedule at vaxassist.com. That's VAXassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. benefitscheckup.org.
You know where you want to go in life, and City National Bank can help. City National knows the dedication it takes to build your vision for the future into a reality, and our team is here for you. We have a wide range of options to help, from personal savings accounts to interest-bearing money market savings accounts and more, all designed to help you get where you want to go. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Learn more at cnb.com. City National Bank is a subsidiary of Royal Bank of Canada, member FDIC.
The smarter way to clean your floors. It's time to make the swap. Swiffer Power Mop.
Introducing the new Swiffer Power Mop, the all-in-one tool that gives you a mop and bucket clean in half the time. The solution's built right in, so no heavy bucket, and the pad has hundreds of scrubbing strips to get deep into grout. Don't mop harder, mop smarter.
Swiffer Power Mop. Swiffer Power Mop.
Sometimes he fails at fitting in, but we're okay with that. You're inside the Tavis Smiley Show.
You are indeed with David A. Love, investigative reporter and Rutgers professor of journalism. Pleased to have had him on this program for the hour. Just a few minutes left here to talk about Rashida Jones, the sister. And if you didn't know, there has been for some time now a black woman running MSNBC. She has stepped down. And Rachel Maddow has come back into the building 5 nights a week to helm her show. It underscores, once again, the trouble that MSNBC is in. Fox News continues to be number one. MSNBC has been, running second of late, CNN in third place. But all these cable channels, perhaps save Fox News, are in some trouble. What do you make of this news, David Love?
Well, there are a couple of things I'm thinking about. First of all, I think it's always sad to see a black face in a high place lose their position. I don't know what she did to try to amplify black voices at the network. I do know myself as someone who has written for a number of these networks and also has appeared on them. They have been a hot mess. They have not been representing marginalized communities. They have not been reflecting the needs, the concerns of the black community. And I would also say that someone such as Rashida Jones was probably very limited in her ability to actually get the job done in terms of providing information that would empower us. I think that is our job, and I think that is why people such as you have your radio station, your network, where you are actually trying to empower black people. But, the bottom line is that, my students, I talk to my students about these issues. Mm-hmm. They don't watch cable news. Mm-hmm. They get their information from TikTok, which I think is, for another discussion altogether. Yeah. But bottom line is that cable news, the legacy media, they are not providing people with much. Yeah. That's why you see so many independent media networks that are popping up now that are actually giving people something that they need.
Yeah, I was laughing when you mentioned that your students get their news from TikTok. I get that. What happens if TikTok goes away? Because that's a huge debate. That's a huge debate right now on Capitol Hill and in our court system, whether or not TikTok is going to survive. We shall see. But if not for TikTok, where will they get their news? There is another take on this. Let me just say this right quick, watching my time here. I'm looking at people commenting on our conversation right now about whether or not Rashida being forced out at MSNBC is more anti-DEI. And whether or not I'm looking at other comments that suggest that some believe that this is another example of the media capitulating to Donald Trump and the MAGA movement. So there are all kinds of thoughts, and this story will have legs, I'm sure, for a couple of days about what it means that the sister is no longer running MSNBC. Rashida Jones, once again, is out at MSNBC. And Rachel Maddow is back in at MSNBC every night, at least for the first 100 days. MSNBC is going to try to get these ratings back up, and they are hopeful that people will tune in for the first 100 days as they assess from their perspective what Donald Trump is doing or not, as it were. For now, we thank David A. Love, investigative writer, professor of journalism at Rutgers, for giving us this hour. Thank you for your time, sir. Have a great year, and all the best to you.
Thank you, Brother Tavis. A pleasure as always.
Thank you, sir. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bray Wood with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. The Senate begins confirmation hearings today for President-elect Trump's cabinet picks. Pete Hegseth is up for Defense Secretary, while Doug Burgum's hearing for the Department of Interior is delayed due to missing paperwork. Illinois lawmakers plan to introduce a bill to decriminalize consensual sex work, remove related criminal records, and establish a sex workers' bill of rights. If passed, Illinois would be the first state to fully decriminalize sex work. The Rams advanced to the NFC divisional round with a 27-9 win over the Minnesota Vikings. They will face the Philadelphia Eagles for a spot in the NFC Championship.